Hi everyone. Today we're going to give you an introduction to the Zenith Special Interest Group, part of Feynic. Zenith Special Interest Group, we focus on emerging technology, open source standards that are common across all of finance and technology, so that we can try to solve all of the barriers for common adoption together. My name is Keith O'Donnell. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Zenith Special Interest Group and head here at Feynic Technology, an emerging technology consultancy company. Today, we're going to cover 4 key topics. We're going to talk about the primers, the brain trust, how we're going to develop proof of concepts, and then have a little conversation about what's next. Primers themselves are inspired by the Diamond Age by Neal Stevenson. We're in a world of matter compiler nanomachines, where it's cheaper and easier to 3D print carbon into a diamond lattice to make windows rather than use glass. AI-powered primers help the youth of that world to learn. This also feeds into a class divide, where the main part of the story is when an engineer who develops these AI-powered primers gives them to his daughter and has to deal with the fallout. The Zenith primer follow a very similar model as to how AI primers work within the Diamond Age. Just in case you didn't catch everything on the previous slide, I've summarised it here. The primers will be focused on teaching basic understanding of a core technology, giving an open-sourced executive briefing which details the technology readiness and industry landscape, while also listing opportunities and blockers that stop the technology from being widely adopted. Finally, we're going to make sure that this is a multimedia collection, combining both the written form with interviews, podcasts, demonstrations, reports, white papers, links, and insights all together to make sure anyone and everyone can access this information. In order to deliver these primers, we will be creating a brain trust, combining the theoretical, the technical, and the commercial expertise, while also recognizing the interdependency between all three. To join the brain trust, members will have to go through 5 control gates, demonstrating education and training, a body of work which shows that they actively contribute to the discourse on a technology, recognize skills and awards so that they can demonstrate some sort of accreditation towards their expertise, commitment towards professionalism and ethics, making sure that they understand that all of their contributions are open source and will remain in open source in perpetuity, and finally, an effort and continued professional development show that they will always keep at the forefront of these technologies as they continue to emerge. Technologies in question cover these industries at first. This is not an exhaustive list, nor is this a list that we will hold in stone forever. This will evolve over time. We focus on these technologies and their impact towards both financial services and the technology industry that supports finance. In order to set out on the journey ahead for adoption, we have to start to think about our POC program. This is a path through the veritable wilderness that is emerging technology and all of the associated noise and obfuscation around it. This POC program is quite simple. First of all, we identify the barriers that stop common adoption, perform a call to action so that people can try to solve the barriers themselves. This call to action is open for anyone to put forward suggestions. These suggestions are then vetted by experts and we develop a value proposition. Once we have this value proposition, put it forward to the Zenith Funding Committee so that we can start to develop the project in open source. We ask that people, when they submit their ideas, have an idea of how they would try to solve it as well. As they develop the project, we look to showcase whether the project is a success or a failure. Even a failure in emerging technology just means that we've identified another barrier to try and solve. If we do end up with a success, we go to source release and maintenance through the existing Phenos program. If we think of Zenith is starting to investigate these technologies, we can then graduate things over towards Phenos Labs to start looking at the engineering intricacies, try and solve it to a manageable degree. Once we have it solved, we package it up and we open source release it through Phenos itself. Everything that we develop within Phenos is published under an Apache license. This means that we can do commercial derivations of any of the libraries or standards that we create, but also making sure that none of these ever end up behind a paywall. We ask that anyone who gets involved in our program make sure that they do not use trademarks associated with their own proprietary license in its code, any of its contributions. This ensures that nothing can ever end up gated in the future. That was a quick overview of the Zenith Special Interest Group. Now we're going to take a look at a practical example, some of the technologies that we'll be using, and some of the key problems that we'll be trying to solve. Here, we're going to look at a cross-section of 3 technologies that may not be as emerging as we'd like, but it's a great working example where common efforts can benefit all Phenos members. Starting off with robotic process automation, if we take the ability to automate repetitive tasks, such as we're seeing customer support, data entry, compliance monitoring, and start to merge this in with a couple of other technologies, we can start to do something quite transformative. We look at crypto agility, where we might need to quickly adapt to evolving encryption requirements, especially as state actors start to evolve quite quickly, and we see the proliferation of very, very powerful computing hardware on the horizon. We want to ensure that security and trust are maintained so that we have resiliency to adapt to these future threats. And no talk on emerging technology today is complete without consideration of natural language processing. This is the art of understanding and interpreting human language so that we can gain additional insights or augment our workers through simple automation. We see this in current use within sentiment analysis and improving customer interactions. We combine these 3 technologies together, we start to think about new ways that we can adapt to future states. For example, if new standards are published by an organization such as NIST, we can analyze them using natural language processing, identify exactly which ones are relevant to us by using crypto agility standards, tying this into an encryption asset inventory internally, flagging out our dependent libraries. Once these libraries are flagged, we can use robotic process automation, pull them out, and start to perform code scans on them so that we can see exactly what encryption standards are currently implemented. This then allows us to start to automatically apply these policies, push changes into our encryption standards within our applications or even our databases, and start to put that into regression testing. This is the combination RPA and crypto agility everyone would ideally like to get to. There's no competitive advantage on being able to adapt to standards sooner. We want the whole industry to be secure within this space. This makes sense as a common achievement everyone within Phenos would want to see. But this is just one example. We are hoping to be able to derive and develop even more of these in the future. If you'd like to find out more about the Zenith program, you can go to zenith.phenos.org or scan this QR code to find out additional information. We hope to work with you soon and look forward to your contributions to our vision. Thanks very much.